welcome back to this Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is December 21st, about 7:55 p.m. Week 16 for the Steelers coming up this Saturday against the Cincinnati Bengals. Lee, how have you been?
I've been all right. How about yourself, bud?
I mean, at this point, I'm at my wit's end with the Steelers and all the drama that has become this season. It seems to no longer be about football. We're gonna play into that too, I guess, because I guess we're not gonna talk too much about Cincinnati today. I guess we can start with a couple things about that game, I guess, since we're not gonna go too far into it, and then we'll end with a prediction on it. But it's official. Kenny's out. It's gonna be Mason this weekend. I think that's the biggest takeaway from the actual on-field play. Mason Rudolph this weekend. I think you're happy about that, right? Just to finally give him a shot to see what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it came this late, but it's like, I didn't see the point. I mean, with how the season was going, with Kenny getting injured, I didn't see the point with, might as well just play the guy. I mean, what's the point? What's the harm in it? I mean, we're already doing so bad. Mitch is just terrible. And like we talked about, he's not the guy. And, I don't even know if he'll be here next season. I hope he's not, to be honest. He does not need to be a backup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But, I'm happy to see somebody else get in there and play. I mean, I don't think the Steelers are going to win, but it'll be a different style of play at least, hopefully, with a different quarterback in there. But I'm excited just to kind of see somebody different in there besides Mitch.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Mitch is going to come back. They'll cut him this offseason. I think Tomlin lost all faith in him that game. We played a little bit of the post game, and I think he might have been on the week too. But I think he's over Mitch. He's gone for sure. I say. The season. I did find it funny that Kenny was shown in practice. He was a limited practice participant a couple days this week, and I thought they were going to pull the rug from under Mason. Did you see any of it at all? There were some clips of Kenny moving around gingerly.
Yeah, I did see, and then I think Tomlin was talking about he did like 2 limited practices, and he wanted to see how he was after a day of do the practices to kind of see. But it looks like he's not going to be practiced. But I was like, oh, here we go. They're just gonna not even give Mason a chance to even just try.
There's no reason to bring Pickett back because we just saw what I think he was playing on a bum ankle, and that's why he re-injured that to begin with. So to bring him back again early would have been crazy. Give Mason this shot, see what he can do. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe he'll prove a lot of the Kenny haters right, and come in here and do some stuff. He's got a good arm. He's pretty accurate on the deep balls too. But everything else in his game, I think, is lacking, and I think it could get ugly if Browning continues to play as well as he has been for the Bengals. More injury news would be the secondary is in complete. It's a complete mess at this point.
I
don't know where we're gonna go with it. We're down. Fitzpatrick and Thompson's also out. Casey's suspended.
The rest of the season.
Yes, for the rest of the season. If we do make the playoffs, he's allowed to come back. Just so you know, they put the suspension down a little bit, so he's allowed to come back if we get that far.
Steelers make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let me ask you real quick. What was your take on that hit? Just out of curiosity. I mean,
so when it happened, the people I was with was complaining about it being a flag, and I was like, "Well, it's obviously a flag. You can't do that in the league." But whenever I heard it was a year-long suspension, I didn't think there was going to be any suspension at all. That's one of the you get flagged, you get fined, and then we move on. They're going to decide. Okay, we're going to go and give this guy a that didn't make any sense to me. Just suspend him, and it's like the guy's not making that. He's not like some superstar player. He's not making that much money. He's losing paychecks over this. The fines are one thing, but the game checks too. It's like, is he trying to kill the guy? I don't think so. Maybe you can complain that he isn't learning his lessons. You found a clip. Maybe I'll play that real fast just to get his feel. So, this clip here, I do not know the exact timeline of it. When it came out. If my guess is right, this is actually from last year's New Orleans game. But let's just listen to how he feels about like the way the league is at this point, I think.
Well, then let's take our flags off. That would make it easier for me because now I don't got to wear heavy shit. But give us flags for me to pull off because that way I know what we're playing. You know, I signed up to play full speed contact football, and we're not doing that. I feel like I got to ask a guy, hey, are you ready for me to hit you right now before I hit you? And that's crazy. I'm going to mess around and get hurt trying to protect an offensive player because he's running an over route. Damn it, your quarterback shouldn't have threw that ball messed up. That happened 2 years ago. I'm not joking at all. Andy Dalton threw a ball to Tyler Eifert 2 years ago. Tyler Eifert had to dive for it. I was aiming for his gut. But if he don't dive, he don't get in the head. That's $50,000 out of my pocket, though, because Andy throws a bad ball. Make that make sense. And at first you're taking our money, but now, you know, I got assholes like Matt Hasselbeck calling me a dirty player and trying my character, and we've never met before. I donate more money to Cincinnati underprivileged kids than probably the people on the Bengals. So don't give me that name. My nephew goes to school there, man. I take all that personally. If you don't know me, if you never had a conversation with me, don't judge us by what you see on football, because football is my competitive side. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so much going on in the game right now. Yes, obviously I'm a little flustered, but I mean, we just got to do better. We got to do better. I said it yesterday. We got to do better as players when we sign the next CBA. We got to get better leadership as who's running the league, because obviously everybody from fans, owners, players are all disappointed in Roger Goodell. We just got to do better. We can't have a guy where you just hand out discipline on how you see fit. There needs to be a set guideline of how we do what we do. There's no way I see two people get post-play penalties, post-play infractions that don't have to do with football.
That was KZ talking. I'm not sure the time frame of when that was played, just because I was looking all over Twitter this week and I couldn't find anyone talking about it. And he mentions Andy Dalton and Tyler Eifert 2 years ago. That play he's talking about is definitely in 2018. So 2 years from now would have been 2020. He wasn't a Steeler until last year, though. So I don't know the exact time frame of that hit, that comment, but I mean, I think it still obviously fits for this situation here. So what are your thoughts on what he had to say and his mind?
I think he's kind of right. I mean, and also it's like today's game. I mean, I get it. Yeah. You know, player safety is important. That's what it's all about. You know, you don't want to see anybody injured. You don't want to see anybody's career ending from a hit. Nobody getting a concussion, things like that. But a lot of times, you know, the quarterback is throwing the ball, you know, off target to where the wide receiver has to make different extensions to their body to try to catch the ball. And a cornerback, linebacker, defensive player, whatever, you know, when they are going for the tackle, they are trying to either dislodge the ball or just to make a tackle. And sometimes they're in positions where they can't change the position of their body and how they're moving. And so it's kind of difficult at sometimes. And, you know, when they go to make the tackle, it's not like they're dirty players. It's not like, you know, Casey was like really trying to injure Pittman. I don't think so. I don't think he's a dirty player. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, I don't think are dirty players in the NFL. They're just trying to make tackles. And, you know, football is a very rough and tough sport. And if we're going away from that, I mean, it's like, you know, what is football anymore? Because, you know, now there's so many things in for the quarterbacks and the running backs and now the wide receivers. And it's like, well, what do you do now, you know, with trying to tackle? It's kind of difficult today. But I agree. I mean, a lot of the players are frustrated. I get it. But you know, you don't want to see that. You don't want anybody to get injured. You don't want anybody to be a dirty player. But it's also difficult for the defensive player on how they're actually supposed to tackle a person nowadays in the league.
It's not fun to say, but the fact is everything's about money, and all the lawsuits they had about former players, they're going to make the game as safe as possible. They're not going to take any bad publicity. They'll take all this complaining about the penalties and all that. And I mean, people like ask, what's he supposed to do there? I don't have a good answer, but I know that he knew exactly what he was doing there. And he knew it was going to, maybe he didn't know this part, but more likely than not, that's going to be a penalty every time. He saw that he's going to the ground as he was still on both feet, and he launched at him. You're going to get penalized for that in this league right now. I mean, you can go say whatever you want about it. the suspension was a way over. Way bigger of a penalty than I thought would have happened. But I mean, like when a quarterback slides, you can't hit him. Everyone knows that now. Guess what? The quarterbacks really don't get hit that much when they're sliding. Most of the time, the player can jump over them. So what can he do there? I think the answer is you have to either be in better coverage beforehand, or you just have to accept that he's going to get the ball and try to figure out whether or not you got to touch him like you do with quarterbacks. I know, like pit football with quarterback sliding, what they're taught is not to let up, but when you're going to them, just give them a little tap. Don't.
Holy mackerel, mister! You scared the jeepers out of me.
How would you like to take a break from that fine lead-based paint and learn about...
Give them a little tap. Don't actually go all the way into them, and then you won't get flagged. So, I mean, maybe it's something where with enough reps, you can work on really attacking the ball there with your hands. And it's not something that I could do, but that's what it's either going to be. You're going to have to give up that play, or you're going to get 15 yards is what it's going to. You have to have better coverage. Hope the pass is in a spot that'll lead to that kind of injury, because you're going to get flagged. It's just the way it's going to be. And I don't like it. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair to the defense. But, I mean, that's what the NFL is going to do because they want their money. And the worst way to lose their money is through career-ending injuries to players and all that. Because that hurts the league more than they get hurt by these penalties. Penalties, guess what that is? That creates a discussion, and it's not going to make anyone go away. No one's going to leave football because there's an extra 15-yard penalty each game. That's how I feel in the situation. That's where I'm at.
I hear you. And that's another thing. But the Steelers need to do better. Speaking of penalties, they need to do better with the penalties. 8 for 101 last week against the Colts. You can't do that every week, So let's just hope that they can be better playing and discipline with these last 3 games of the season.
I guess that can segue into what's going on with Pickens and Tomlin and everything. Where I think it kind of shows it's another problem with the discipline of this team, the penalties, and then what's going on with the effort. Here's the play that's getting the most pub. It's the George Pickens blocking for Jalen Warren on potential goal line touchdown play. So I'll play that real quick. So here is Pickens on the whole play.
End of last year, you said you worked hard to overcome whatever these preconceived notions were about you coming out. You feel you still have to do that? Are you still fighting that?
I just feel like the reason I would be, like you're saying, would be still fighting it, because it's a lot of guys that's not playing the ball, not playing the game of football. That's just media guys having an opinion.
George, Mike Thomas said he talked to you about controlling your frustration. Did what he had to say to you resonate with you?
What it was, like 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks
Last week, I think.
Nah, he ain't saying nothing about my frustration.
He said he's had that conversation with you, though, right?
Nah, I ain't never. Last week we played the Colts. I ain't had no conversation with Coach T. Let's get better. Let's keep working.
It's your second year. I imagine you've grown a lot as a player. Do you feel like there's parts of your game that people might not recognize that you've brought in on your team yet?
Yeah, for sure. Just the blocking thing for a matter. I remember all the media type guys who don't play ball was talking about blocking last year. Like, I'm such a good blocker. I'm such a good blocker. Now they want to, say differently. So I'll probably say just look at the routes this year. Look at the yardage. Look at the catch radius. Look at the run after catch. A lot of stuff.
I don't know what to say about that, because that's kind of interesting that he said all of that.
Yeah, so go with that, Ellie. What were your thoughts on that from Pickens?
I mean, first of all, I'm shocked that when the reporter asked him if Mike Tomlin had a talk with him, he said, we played the Colts last week. I didn't talk to anybody. Mike Tomlin hasn't talked to me. And then the guy's like, well, 2 weeks ago or no, I haven't had that conversation with him. And it's kind of strange that a reporter would be asking about a conversation that Mike Tomlin had with one of his players, and the players saying that they don't remember having that conversation, or that conversation never happened. It's like wondering who is being honest and who's being, who's lying to the media and to the fans here, about things going on behind closed doors with the Steelers organization. The blocking thing, I mean, he's talking about, players not, blocking, or he's talking about other players not doing other things that he's doing on the field. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I think me and you had brought up how George Pickens is out there kind of actually looking like he's doing stuff, but then last week against the Colts, it's like
a couple weeks ago too, he was doing the same thing. It's like,
yeah,
we just destroyed any chance of that being anything good.
Yeah, and so it's just I'm surprised to just kind of hear him say some of this stuff. He doesn't sound like he really wants to be here, to be honest.
Yeah. So I was trying to find the video, but I messed that up myself, so I'll take the blame. But I do have a quote from Pickens about why he didn't go full speed on that block. He said, I was trying to prevent a Tank Dell situation, who was hurt recently for the Texans. The same thing happened to Tank Dell. I didn't want to get injured. If you stay on the block too long, you can get ran up on very easily. So we watched the video. He says the reasoning is you don't want to stay on your block too long. He didn't go onto a block.
He wasn't even blocking. Yeah.
And the only reason he almost got injured on that play is because he wasn't blocking, which is ironic enough because the guy comes jumping over and he has to jump over him. But what are your thoughts on that comment about injury?
I mean, it's like you're playing a game. Like, come on. You talk about you want to be nobody on the team is doing anything, and here you are not doing anything in this game. I mean, I think it's a cop-out, to be honest. He doesn't want to get injured.
Just make an excuse for why he's not playing.
Pretty much, and
it has nothing. It's about pouting. It's all about pouting. It's all about being a baby.
That's it.
There's nothing else to it. He's being a baby, and it's unfortunate that it seems like the team is allowing them to act this way. They're almost here's we'll go to Eddie Faulkner first, I guess. He made some comments about it himself here. Since I'll play that.
My reaction is we have to go out there and execute every play to the highest level, every player. That's the expectation. The second part of that would be how do you handle that as you address it, you present it to the group, you make sure that it's called out amongst the guys and they understand where your stance is, and then you move on from that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Apologies.
And we know, and being here with George every day, I know he's a guy that loves it. He loves ball. He works at it. He wants to be good. And that's where you find your peace and knowing that you can bring him along in that regard because he loves ball, and that's the approach.
I was going to say, has that been addressed? Has that been brought up, whether it's privately or amongst the other guys?
Yes, sir.
You say he loves ball. You say he loves getting better. I mean, does he love being here right now? Do you get the sense that he's responding well to this and is good with the overall situation?
I think he's a young guy that's got to continue to learn how to be a professional.
When this becomes a talking point every week, does it feel like the message is getting through to him?
You keep on hammering away at it. I mean, that's our job, and that's what we'll do.
Any consideration to sitting him down for playing time, discipline at this point?
We're going to coach the guys, the best ability out there. That's probably closer to a Coach Tomlin question. Anything.
Yeah, so we'll stop it there. We'll get to Tomlin in a second, but I think that last couple questions about it. I mean, if this is going to be a weekly thing, how much is he learning from this? And it's coddling at this point for a guy.
It really is.
Who hasn't. What has he done yet to think he's so great? Obviously he's talented, but there's a lot more talented players that have been in a lot worse situations than he's in.
Yeah.
to start their careers that have had
Mhm.
great careers. I mean, who did DeAndre Hopkins have thrown to him throughout his career early on?
I mean, I think I saw an interview with him, and he had like, I think they said he had like 11 different quarterbacks when he was in with the Texans at one point.
And how many times did you have to worry about him complaining like this? How many times?
Hey, I don't think he ever said anything.
It's just like I just don't understand what it's like a bizarre world for me because I get it that you're gonna have a diva receiver, but you would want your diva receiver to like done something right before he becomes the diva receiver that Pickens has been.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I'll play Tomlin. See what he has to say.
Real quick, I just wanted to say, I think Eddie Faulkner is he's very contradicting with what he said there. I mean, he's all about ball, but yet he needs to get some discipline. It's like, okay, which one is it then? Is he all for it, or do you need to sit down and have a talk with him? I mean, which is happening here? I mean, it doesn't seem like he's like, oh well, we say it to the guys, and if it doesn't go through, well, we can't do nothing about it. Well, you're the coaches. Discipline the guys. If the message is not getting through, then you need to explain to them and show them like, look, okay, well, it's not getting through. You're going to sit out a week until it does get into your head, and then you're going to start playing right. But it doesn't seem like they even care, to be honest. Even him, it doesn't seem like he cares.
But he did say about this sitting, it's a Tomlin thing to ask.
Yeah.
I think this clip here, I got a couple Tomlin clips. I think this one will address that directly, and then I can go back to more of the opening statements that Tomlin made.
Okay.
No.
Is there any form of discipline that will be handed out there?
Not that I'm going to discuss with you guys.
Have you had to change your approach and how you work with him to focus on those things like maturity and just development?
Hey, I do what I have to do, man. It comes with the job. He's not the first guy that I have or I've had that needs growth and development in life areas. And so it's a rerun for me and for us largely.
Do you feel like you guys have been successful and you've been successful in helping other players with growth and maturity in life things?
Very much so.
Mike, how do you think the locker room takes it when they hear him say that he doesn't want to get hurt?
Ask them.
Mike, can you explain why you feel it's appropriate that he will play on Saturday?
Because again, man, he's got talents. We want to utilize him. He's very much in growth and development. But it'd be the same if we were winning games or if he said appropriate things with you guys yesterday. You guys might have gone away, but that wouldn't have made me any more comfortable about this process that he's going through. That is ongoing and continual, and it will continue to require our attention.
So I'm not buying that there's punishment. What is the punishment? If you're not going to sit him, what other punishment can you give a guy? He's going to run sprints. Have him run sprints. Yeah. There's no punishment. We all know there's not a punishment. The idea of, well, there's a punishment, we're not going to tell you guys about it. It's little goofy.
That's a different Tomlin.
Yeah,
boy, that's a different Tomlin.
I'm also bothered by the ask them when
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, you go.
Ask them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what this is a different Tomlin that I've seen.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's always been such a great leader, but
yeah,
I don't know. You go ahead.
I just don't know. I mean, the way he's been these past couple press conferences that I've seen him with the media, I mean, he's been very short. He's been a little almost aggressive, in the way he's been talking with them, and it's just something we've never seen. And again, we hit on it during that post game show. I mean, he may be on the hot seat. He may know that a 7-10 record's on its way, for the first time having a losing season, So, you hate to see it, but I think he needs to. He hasn't been the humbling Tomlin that we've normally seen the past couple little press conferences.
Mm-hmm. Here's a little bit more from Tomlin. This is what he started off. With the clip you just saw, it started with this.
Okay.
Education, and I want him to understand that as well. When you're winning and doing your jobs, man, a lot of the attention and so forth is on things such as that. When you're not doing your job and losing, you better keep your damn mouth shut and understand that tracks a certain type of attention as well. And usually that's vulture-like attention. And part of it is...
I'm wrong. That was a different clip, but we can talk about that one too first. So yeah, we just saw him. He says that there's vultures coming for Pickens. I think he's saying it's the media and the vultures that are coming for him because they're taking advantage of this statements during a losing stretch. What are your thoughts on the idea that it's that Pickens opened himself up to the vultures?
I think it's his play. I mean, he did it to himself. If it is that way, he did it to himself. I mean, I don't think they're just trying to nitpick at the guy, but you can see how he's been playing the past couple weeks. I mean, it's on him.
Yeah, and I think he was talking about the comments he made too about like the Tank Dell talk and stuff.
Okay. Well, that's again, that's on him. That's on him talking. I mean, if you don't want that, then be a little bit more smarter with your words and what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this will be the next clip. This is the one I actually wanted to put up there.
Okay.
I'll fix this.
Great. Good afternoon. I wanted to address some George Pickens items that have been hot, I guess, in the last 24 hours. As I said at the top of the week, George is a talented guy, but he's growing in a lot of ways in regards to football and life. We don't run away from that. We run to that organizationally. When we draft guys, we're committed to being a component of their growth and development in all areas. As I mentioned earlier this week, it is very much a work in progress. And so it is continual. It's not going to be one incident or one meeting or one form of discipline that's going to institute the type of change that we're hunting, to be quite honest with you. It is going to be continual. He is aware of that. We meet on a routine basis. We met last Wednesday, he and I. We met again today. And so just wanted to be clear in some of those things. I would like him to be more professional in terms of addressing some of his shortcomings with you guys to further add fluidity to the process. He's not helping himself, he's not helping the process in the manner in which he's dealt with you guys. But the manner in which he deals with you guys is not necessarily the manner in which he deals with us or himself regarding acknowledging where he is and where he needs to go. And so I just wanted to say that. Largely, I like to keep his growth and development and the things regarding his growth and development private. To be quite honest with you, talking about it in this setting doesn't aid in the process or speed up the process. But rest assured, there's a commitment here not only from us, but from him in terms of growing as a man and a player. And so I just wanted to open it up from that perspective. I'll answer any questions that you might have.
He's a work in progress.
When has Tomlin ever talked about another player like this? I'm so lost. Like, this is just not the team. I shouldn't say the team. Like, this is just not how they have treated any other player in the past.
No,
and I just don't understand why are we here with this guy, this specific player? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, yeah, when in the past have we ever seen Tomlin do this? Never. I mean, sure, he's a talented player, but Claypool was talented, and the guy was gone, in year two. I mean, there's been a lot of divas on a lot of teams, and a lot of the players and a lot of the teams that deal with these divas, they get rid of them. Why are the Steelers? Why are we like this?
And we're not. The Steelers haven't been like this, and just the growth and development, all this stuff, like. We know
I don't get
we've
it.
heard every Tomlinism in the book.
Yeah.
These are like things that we've never heard him talk about, never talked like this about any other player. Pickens isn't the only 22-year-old on the team. It's just crazy that this is the case.
The guy's an adult. He plays football. He makes hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. I mean, what does he need to do? What more growth does he need? What more development? Why are you coddling this guy? And he's continuing to act like this and do this on and off the field. What's the point?
Before all these comments from Tom, this is Vince Williams had a I think 4 tweets he put out in a row. I'll read those real quick, and then I'll hear what you have to say about it. But this was Vince Williams, former linebacker. I'm sure you remember him. The Steelers' knack for transforming outcast and low to no rounders into productive players hinges on the internal drive and natural overachievement of those individuals. The Steelers didn't create the uniqueness of these players, but rather provided them with the opportunity, environment to unleash their potential and become extraordinary. The result of this process is discovering numerous hidden football gems. However, even though we excel at unearthing talent, if you lack high motivation or passion for your craft, you will encounter issues. The Steelers have a mixed track record when it comes to player development. On one hand, they do offer an environment that allows you to evolve into the player you aspire to be with no restrictions or limits on your growth. As an undrafted free agent, you have the potential to become a perennial Pro Bowler, and a former underachiever can revitalize their career without any biases. In the end, everyone hinges on the level of drive the individual has. If you don't have that right mindset and the desire to reach that potential, then Omar will be trading you. Is what it says here.
Wow.
This was before the Tomlin's comment. I think that's pretty good stuff from him there. But what do you think?
Really good what he said. I mean, it's I think he's right. He hit on a lot of key points on how the Steelers organization is. They do potentially. You definitely see a lot of players grow on the Steelers, and they seem to work with them. But the problem is a lot of these guys, a lot of these divas, they seem to want to just coddle them just because they think they're a good talent, and all they are is a toxin to the team. They're just toxic. And we could see that with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown was a very great player who, after a while, it seems like a lot of the fame and money and things get to people's heads, and then they think that they can do whatever they want and act a certain way just because they're making all this money. They play for a prestigious team who's known for winning, and you're under a coach who hasn't lost, doesn't have a losing season yet, and it makes it seem like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to do what I want. It kind of hits back to the whole thing what Minka said a couple weeks ago. I mean, you got a lot of people that just think they're wearing the black and gold and just think they can do what they want, and they're not doing anything, so. It's a little ridiculous, but I think what Williams said there in those tweets, I thought it was really good. I think he hit it right on the nail right there.
Yeah, and I want to go back to it because you brought up Antonio Brown. What has Pickens done to get this special treatment that he seems to be getting from Tomlin here? I just don't understand. Maybe there's more to it that I'm not seeing because he brought up life. He's growing into life a couple times. Maybe there's something going on off the field that we don't know about. That could explain why Tomlin is treating him with kid gloves that he hasn't treated anyone with. That I could. Give me another example of how he's treated someone similar to what he's treated Pickens.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen him do that with anybody. And the only thing that you can even say about Pickens is what he had one good one-handed catch in his rookie year in that Browns game, that Thursday Night Football in that Browns game.
He's talented. His catch radius, as he brought up in his video, is amazing. His ability to get the combated catches is amazing. He's amazing and all that. But has he proven that he can separate from cornerbacks in this league? I haven't seen it yet. I mean,
I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. I haven't seen one breakaway game with Pickens yet.
Yeah, so it's a little crazy to me. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe he's gonna have a Hall of Fame career, but right now, I don't. Is he a top 30 receiver in the league right now? Talent, 100%. So. Actual receiver, I don't think so either. So he's not a number one receiver at this point. Why are we treating him with all this fear of him? If we're mean to him, he's gonna be mad at us. Is that why is he not benched this week?
It's the diva mentality that a lot of these players get once they get money, and they think that just because now they're famous and that they make
but I don't
all this
think it's
money.
The money. I know I'm not trying to cut you off. I don't think it's money. He's a second round pick. He's not on a huge contract. He's had trouble at Georgia.
I don't mean that, but I think a lot of people, though, once they start getting some type of status, they think that
maybe the status. We can go this because he had trouble at Georgia too.
Yeah.
when he was there. The reason that he was in the second round was because of issues like he had an injury and then issues off the field. He got in a fight on the field. So there's been things, but like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the status is a good way to put it. I think. Yeah.
A lot like we talked about, a lot of these players that come out of college today, they just want to be about them. They don't want it to be about the team. They want to be about them. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want to injure myself, so I'm not gonna block. You're playing for a team. You're playing on a team.
Yeah, that's a good segue. I don't know if you caught it. Pickens said that like us, we're not media, obviously. I wouldn't consider us media, but he said people that don't play ball are the ones that are talking. But you just talked about something. So I figured I'd put at least one clip of a former player talking about the block and everything. So here's Kyle Long's comments.
Here, I just have George Pickens written down. You know what? I watched the highlights of the low red. I'm watching this game. You watch the low red area. You get your running back tackle to the 2-yard line with you standing there with your hands on your hips. And this has kind of become a microcosm for what I believe the issues are in Pittsburgh. I think that this team doesn't have leadership. I think that this team leads. They choose their leader by who's the most skilled guy on the field. And unfortunately for them, number 14, George Pickens, is the most talented guy on this football team. And it's week after week, I question the leadership, the coaching, the presence of mind. And it's George Pickens often in this conversation. I'm frustrated with it because my buddy Mitch is there playing quarterback, and I try to stay neutral in the media. But when Mitch throws you a jump ball and you're the biggest, freakiest guy on the field, and you get Randy Mossed between the hashes, I take issue with it. When you don't finish your block and the running back gets tackled and your team subsequently does not score a touchdown, I take issue with it. You know what else? The guys in that locker room should, and they haven't, and I'm disappointed in that.
So, what are you thinking there? What are your thoughts on that?
I think he nailed it right there. That was it. Everything that he said was 100%. I mean, yeah, you're taller than the defender, and the guy catches it off of you, and then you're not blocking. There is no leadership from the coaching. There is nobody. Again, somebody needs to step up, and nobody is. And there's nobody on the offense that's doing it. Does somebody from the defense need to get into the offense's head and say, hey, you guys need to be doing something. Who's going to be the leader on that team? Somebody has to.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that's a good way to end the Pickens talk. Let's finish it off.
Did you hear what Jaylen Warren had to say, though?
Oh, yeah. Let me pull that up real quick. This was Warren on the play. This is after the comments about the Tank Dell situation. Warren goes, I see where he's coming from. It is what it is. At the end of the day, he was doing what he thought was best for him. And then this one's the most damning, for sure, for me. Some people play the game differently. If I was in that position, I would have blocked for him, but we played differently. So that's the end of the quote there.
Oh, yeah.
If we had a bunch of Jaylen Warrens, we'd be better off than we had a bunch of George Pickens, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
The talent gap is definitely there.
Yeah,
I was gonna. We've hammered a lot of this home, but going back to the Vince Williams comments, just look at the guys that the Steelers have had that have turned into the Hall of Famers, the Hines Wards, the James Harrisons we talked about recently. Look where they were drafted. Look the stories that they had to go through to become the elite players. Even guys like Ben, who had success their whole career, he was a MAC school guy. He played in the MAC in college. He was a quarterback starting his junior year of high school.
Yeah,
and then Polamalu's always been considered one of the best people in the sport.
Yeah.
The closest guy, maybe where it was ego wise, is Antonio Brown's obviously one. That's the one that's obviously like that. Other than that, I don't see many guys that have been a me guy. Joey Porter, the original Joey Porter, not his son, was flashy, but I never think that it was ever a detrimental to the team kind of thing.
No,
but
not at all.
Those are the great Steelers that we've had, and Pickens hasn't shown to be great yet, and he's shown qualities that are not like any of the guys I just named. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I mean, it's just, we haven't, I don't think right now, we don't have too many of those players that we looked at as great leaders, the ones that, they might do some craziness outside and have a little bit of flash to them, but they're more about the team than they are about themselves, and you named a great few players right there. I mean, those are when you think of Pittsburgh Steelers, those are Pittsburgh Steelers, players like that, and George Pickens, like you said, maybe there's stuff going on outside off the field in his personal life, but right now we just haven't seen the Pickens that we want to see, the leader that he really can be, for this team.
Yeah, I feel you for sure. Well, we're at the end here. We haven't talked about the actual game at all coming this week, but you want to give a prediction for this weekend?
Yeah, I think the Steelers are losing. They're losing this game. They're getting blown out. I think it's going to be 35-13. I think they're getting blown out.
35-13.
I don't foresee. The only person that's going to make any plays is TJ Watt. He's the only player on the team that's even doing anything right now. Past couple weeks have been pretty bad with the running game. I would, you want to hope that, we can get a good running game with Najee and Jaylen Warren and, maybe with Mason, a decent passing game. We'll see what happens. But the only person, my only MVP, and it's probably yours too, is TJ right now. I mean, he's the only one that's doing anything.
Yeah. I'm hoping there's a little pride. They just got blown out. I do think Cincinnati wins, but I'm going to go 23-13 on a super blowout, 10-point loss, but not a total train wreck.
I think it's going to be a total train wreck. I'm kind of done with this team.
The only hope I see is if there's turnovers, and then Mason can hit some bombs. And
I mean, with the injuries and the to the secondary and to the defense.
We didn't mention. Sorry to cut you off. We didn't mention Jamar Chase is out for this week. That is a big loss for the Bengals. Okay. That just changed things up. And then also Tyler Boyd's been talking a lot of talking a lot of shit about the Steelers locker room right now. So maybe we'll try to clamp down on him too. But
wasn't he a Pitt guy?
He's a Pitt guy. I bet you he would even call himself a Steeler fan still. He's from Clarion with the T. Clarion.
Oh, Clarion.
Yeah, but he's a local guy, and he was coming out and then making some comments. So we'll see if he backs it up or not this week.
Yeah. I hope the Steelers prove me wrong, but I think they're getting blown out again. 35-13. I think they're getting blown out.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and not much hope, but we'll be here Saturday night to talk about it for sure.
Sounds good.
I'll see you later.
See ya.